Dude, you are getting well. Welcome, Dude Nation, dudes of all genders, wherever you are. Welcome to the podcast, Dude, You're Getting Well, where I interview leaders about how they've turned their pain into their purpose and how you can do the same. I am so excited for this episode. If you haven't already subscribed, please do so. Follow us, like us, share this with someone in your life who probably needs to hear it. You can just poke them and say, have you heard this guy? We're in season 2, and we're actually wrapping up season 2 with 2 of my favorite humans on the planet. I've been trying to get them on this show for like a year, and it's finally happening. They're 2 people who I met in landmark education in the world of leadership, personal growth, and development. They have moved me since I met them. I believe their energy, their purpose, who they are in the world as individuals is incredible and needed. They bring a lot of value to the world, and now they're even teamed up together to create Aligned Being, which is an amazing organization. And it's them committed to transformation on the planet, and that all people get to thrive in every part of their lives. And their names are Micky Chorny and Nicolle Medina. Come on in.
Hello.
Hi. It's so awesome to have you. Welcome.
It's so great to be here. I love dudes.
I do too, especially you. And thank you for that amazing introduction. We love you too. You are such a special human being in our lives since day one.
Aww. Well, it is my pleasure. And we'll have a love fest, and we're also going to help some people today. So already right now, this is where you can go to get in touch with these amazing humans and find out more about how to elevate your life. To dive in right away, it says on your mission is that you inspire a wave of transformation, and that you're setting new standards for living and performance and contributing to a better, more passionate, compassionate world. That's a big promise.
Hell yeah,
I mean, you're 2 big people up to big things, but how did you get there? Like, what is the, God, there's so much I want to ask you. Let me try to make this a little more specific. What are some of the ways that you believe that we can inspire transformation today? Or what are the standards for living and performance that you believe in, that you believe is necessary today?
You want me to go first, Nick?
Sure. Yeah.
Okay, great. So, the first question was, how'd you get here? And the answer is a lot of conversations, with each other, with our, mentors, like on our own, with each other's mentors in a group, like lots of conversations where we basically got to workshop and throw all of the ideas into the pot and experiment. And we really did choose these words very carefully. And, the setting new standards for living and performance is not our standards. It's the standards that light up the people we work with. It's for them to determine what that standard is. But we really are here to inspire the kind of transformation that would have people acting in alignment with those standards for themselves.
Okay. Tell me more. Yeah. I'm intrigued. Nicolle, what do you have to say about this?
I mean, listen, Micky just said it all. Absolutely. This is over and over again what really matters to people. When you just get to the fundamental stuff, that's what it is. And we're completely aligned with that. We want people to have that, and that's what we're here for. So
awesome. Well, thank you for being here. We're so let's challenge it. You all are beautiful people. You're both brilliant. You're working together. let me ask, like,
go on.
were you ever like, what brought you together? What attracted you to each other? Like, why do business together?
Oh yeah, this is a big one. And we could say so much about this.
So much.
Yeah. I mean, first of all, we've been very good friends for a long, long time. We're best friends. So that helps just in terms of coming together as humans. We have a lot of similarities. We're really compatible as humans and as friends in many ways. And we share a lot of the same viewpoints and the commitment to making a difference in the world. So so there's that. And then I think, should we go through the whole story, Mick? Or what?
We met in an environment that was like a crucible for transformation.
Yeah.
You know, at Landmark. That is how Nicolle and I met. We were both in this leadership program where we were, I mean, you did the same program, Ben. We were being pressed to transform.
Oh yeah.
And we were both
met
in the middle of it.
Yeah. I mean, this is the kind of program, you know, Ben, where you cannot leave. You will leave transformed. Like, you will not be the same human being that you were when you walked into the program. It's impossible. Like, that's the level that we got developed at. So, and
I remember sitting at a table, and Nicolle was not sure if she was going to register for this program or not. And I was like, listen, I'm a working actor, and I'm actually I don't know how, because I have seemed to be like less hours in the day, but this program's like, you're going to spend more hours than you've ever spent in your life, and you're somehow going to get more free time, and your life's going to work, and you might start working as an actor.
Yeah. And all of those things came true, and you were right. And
you were like, I think I'm going to do this. I was like, I can't promise it. But that's what's possible.
Yeah, exactly. But you were the one that enrolled me in registering. Like, you really inspired me. I was like, oh my God. I, first of all, love this guy's energy. He's amazing. Think we could be friends. Second of all, he's speaking my language. And, you know, and that was it. And then you said those words to me, and the way that you were about it, you were so committed. You were so lit up. You were so in it. And you were clearly somebody who was walking your path and like walking the talk. So for me, that was hugely inspirational, and I signed up immediately, and I'm so thankful for it. And you were the kind of doorway for me, which is amazing. Yeah.
Well, thank you. Well, I love, one thing I want to point to. I appreciate the acknowledgement, and like, it's one thing to be inspired; it's another thing to do something about it. Mm-hmm. So I want to acknowledge you for having done something about it, and and it takes something to be in partnership. Some people like best friends, like that's recipe for disaster. You want to ruin your friendship, go in business together. So I want to undo that. And my dog is begging to get out of the door. So feel free to answer. And I'm gonna open the door and jump right back in my chair.
I want to speak to that and then debunk that very thing you're talking about, Ben, because I think this will really paint a picture. Like, Nicolle sat at that table and she deliberated, the way that she deliberates. I sat at that table and cried the whole time. And I had like people like, it's going to be okay. Like, you can do this. And I was like, I can't, like, literally. So like, already you can see how like these two people are very different in how they handle these things. Right. Mm-hmm. And I think that has rung true throughout our entire friendship and in our business relationship. We work together, like it works because we are so different, because of the way that we deal with these situations can be so different. And I don't even want to call it opposite, because they're not always opposite, but they're very different. Our approaches are just very different. Yeah. And that has really worked for us this whole time in our friendship and now in our business.
Yeah. We sort of fill out each other's gaps. So it kind of finds the perfect balance between Micky and I. And it absolutely translates into our business across the board. And the running joke that we have all the time is like, oh, what do you know? We're aligned. We just end up coming back into alignment because it looks so different on the page. And then we come together. We always come together in alignment with, the heart of what we want to deliver and what we're committed to. So it's wild. We're very complementary.
Yeah. And I would say don't go into business with your best friend if you are not open to seeing the things about you that need work.
Yeah.
Like, Nicolle and I are always showing each other lovingly, like, the things that we each need to work on.
Mm-hmm.
And if you are not in it for that kind of, like, Nicolle says this all the time, relationships are arenas for self-development. And they are designed to drive up in you the things you need to work on and heal for yourself. And the magic of a relationship is when you're in a container with someone who's there for all of it with you. And that's literally Nicolle and me. So, like, don't go into business with your best friend if you're not up for that, because that is what's going to happen.
Yeah. Yeah. And we were very clear from the beginning what we signed up for and what we were willing to take on. And it's really important to have the willingness to take something like that on. Otherwise, it gets really crappy. And that's the reason why a lot of people quit or find reasons not to continue going the distance together. But when you can be in it from the perspective of, oh, this is a partnership, and just like any other partnership, it's going to drive up my stuff probably pretty fast. Now, how can we approach this in a way that becomes an opportunity for growth and transformation for each of us individually and collectively? And then also, how is this transformation going to contribute to the business, right? Because the business is its own entity. So when you come at it from that perspective, then it's just this ongoing opportunity to grow and expand and empower yourselves. And it's awesome. It may not always feel awesome, but
it mostly doesn't. Total.
Thank you for saying that, because I'm sure there's a lot of people who are like, wow, they just get along so well. How does it like go? Like, it's always awesome. Like, I want to have an awesome life, but like, let's talk real talk. It doesn't always feel awesome. Thank you for speaking that forward. Because we're human, right? My partner and I piss each other off all the time, and we're learning still. Like, it's a relationship, like anything, evolving. So, speaking of which, like, what's been the biggest challenge in being in partnership for each of you? I mean, it may be different.
So here's what I'll say. It is a gift to be in a deep, intimate friendship. What we call it platonic life partnership. What Nicolle and I have, because the foundation of our friendship is transformation. Like, both of us are clear that we are always going to be doing the work of transformation in our personal lives, in our lives with each other. And so because that's sort of the basis of understanding for the beginning of our friendship, the beginning of everything for us, that means that we go through some really hard spaces where we're not sure we're going to make it to the other side. And the first example that I have of that is that there was a time before we became business partners where we thought we were going to break up as friends. It was a time when, both of us were going through very challenging experiences in life and doing the best we could to be there for each other, but we were just not connecting. Like, we were just not landing. And it got to the point where it felt really heavy and it felt hard and dreadful. And like, we found ourselves on this phone call with one another, basically talking about breaking up as friends. And then transformation happened in that moment, because it was like, for the first time, we both told the truth. Like, it cannot go on like this. Like, I will throw my hands up. It's not going to go like this. And I'd soon rather it be over than keep going like this. And it was like something shifted for both of us. And it was like, for the first time, she heard me differently. I heard her differently. And it was like and from that moment, we didn't have that friendship anymore. We had a new friendship.
Yeah. Yeah.
And we were not the same people when we got off the call. So
I mean, it doesn't sound like you'd be able to have that breakthrough, right? Because you're actually both saying, if this is the relationship, we don't want to be in this kind of thing.
Yeah.
This is
we had both gotten to the point where we were threw our hands up. It was like, I don't think I want to be here anymore. Right? Like, both of us were just like, I think I'm done. And then in that moment, something happened where, I mean, it's what Micky said, a lot of truth got told. And I know one of the things that I realized was I realized what it must be like for Micky. It was just, I got in her world. In that moment, I was like, once all the defenses were dropped, I had nothing to kind of hang on to, because for all intents and purposes at that point, I had nothing to lose. I was done, right? Then I started telling the truth. And when I told the truth, and to not just to Micky, but to myself in that moment, then I was able to share with Micky and get in her world and go, I can see that this is what it must be like for you. It must be really hard, right? Being in this dynamic or having these things happen in your life, and then having me show up in these particular ways, and vice, and she did the same with me. And so with that truth telling and transparency, with nothing to lose, we were able to dissolve the old version of our friendship and create a new one, which then eventually led to this new future called being business partners.
And what we said was that this friendship was going to be for us how we get to model healthy relationships and healthy communication with one another. That we were going to become the model, the space where we could practice healthy behaviors with one another and, mess it up real good with each other and forgive each other and stick with each other through the mess.
Yeah. And for one another humanity.
It has happened many times since then.
Yeah. And it has. And the wild part about it is it doesn't occur the same way. Like, it doesn't show up like a problem anymore. It just shows up as another opportunity to grow and expand and empower ourselves. That's how it shows up now inside of what we created, that new relational container that we created with. So it's really beautiful. It's like, oh, okay. Or at worst, something shows up as a mistake. Like, oh, that was just a mistake. Oh, I was mistaken. She was mistaken.
Hey, Becky.
Bringing compassion to it and understanding and transparency, like real talk, authenticity. And then, getting back to where we want to be.
Yeah. This is, if we can solve this in business relationships, we've this is $1 trillion conversation easily. Because I mean, let's face it, no one grows by themselves, like in a vacuum. Elon Musk does not work by himself. He has a lot of help, right? And if there's anything I've learned from sitting on this side of the chair for a while is like, wow, no one I'm talking to is doing this alone. So if we're all in relationship with someone and everyone all the time, and we're human and we're going to have these conflicts, what advice would you give to people in business relationships today? Like, what are the most important things? What are the things to do when we have these meltdowns or come to head moments or, breakdowns, let's call them?
Oh my God. I feel like we could do several days on this.
Let's try like 10 minutes.
In fact, we will be doing a 3-day immersion.
Okay. No, this is good. Like, I may need to be here. I may need to be in that immersion or want to be in that immersion. So this is good. Let's talk about it. Yeah. So let's give us a snapshot. Like, we have time. We've got like a solid 15 minutes. It's not 3 days, but like, walk us in, because this is what we're here for. Like, walk us through the fire a little bit. Like, what can we, like, at least some like, what can we take from, if we were to take something today, like, and apply it to our life and our relationships, business or not, what would you each give us?
Okay, I'll start. So, my favorite demographic to work with is business owners and business leaders. And a lot of the work that we do in the beginning is telling the truth and being willing to hear the truth. Like, what is your team saying about you? Do they actually feel safe and good coming to work in your business? And if you're not willing to hear that, then you should not be a business leader. You know, because most of the time you're the a-hole, unfortunately, when you're the business owner. And if you're not willing to look at that and like, you're not willing to listen when people are trying to tell you that, then you're really not going to grow. Now, when it comes to like business relationships, I think that could be said too. Like, you have to be willing to tell the truth, and you have to be willing to hear the truth. And you also have to be willing to accept that you are a human. So are the people, the person that's in that relationship with you, or the people you're interacting with. Everyone's doing the best they can. And we all have gaps to close. We all have things we need to work on. So like, be willing to work on those things. That's like such a sort of like, I feel like I didn't say anything, but I could say so much, like I could say so much more about what I just said.
This is it. Like, this is what I'm taking from this. Like, that is it. Where are you not willing to tell the truth, or like even more so, hear the truth, right? Like I heard where you all started with your conflict is telling the truth.
Yeah.
Where are we not being real and then resenting other people for it, right?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And I also think you have to remember, you have to keep like front of mind for yourself who the person is that you are having this conflict with. Who are they really for you? Because this person matters to you. They're important to you. If they're not important to you, why are you bothering with that conversation or that interaction, right? So if you in that moment are experiencing that person not mattering to you, you got to invent some mattering to you for that person. Otherwise, don't have that interaction. That's the other thing I would say. Nick, your turn.
Yeah, beautiful.
Nicolle, think about this for a second. I want to ask Micky one clarifying question.
Yeah.
For anyone who's like, how do you invent that, like someone mattering for you? What might that look like?
Well, it might look like not having the conversation right then. So like, you can step away and think about like, okay, what do I really want to speak to? You know, one of my favorite sort of tools is crucial conversations. And the number one rule, or the number one step, is always start with heart. Start with who this person is for you, why they matter to you. Start by acknowledging them in the conversation, whether it's overt or like where you're coming from in the conversation. And so I would say that if you are just so filled up that you cannot for the life of you think that this person matters to you, you should step away. Take a moment. Don't have that conversation right then.
That's really good conflict resolution advice. That's really good. I mean, the number one thing I hear, I follow so many therapists on social media. I just love relationship dynamics, and they're all like, if you're like, if you're not there, like, take a break. You've got like, at least give your nervous system 20 minutes to reset.
Yep. Yeah. That's
so
minimum
thank you for
amount.
saying that. Yeah. Minimum
Amount is 20 minutes. That's right. For the nervous system to sort of reset, and the amygdala to calm down from fight or flight.
Nicolle, thank you for speaking forward. What do you have to say about this?
Yeah, I mean, it's massive. I mean, I'm just to kind of play off of what Micky started talking about, what you started talking about, Ben, is it's hugely important to really ground yourself in just building the habit of walking away when necessary. And none of us are perfect at it. Most of us have lifelong habits of doing the opposite. And, I know for me, it's been a big practice to just stop and walk away and take the time. And that's as many times as you need to, so that you don't entrench yourself in the same old vicious cycle. And as much as we can, when we are taking that time away, to remember why that person matters to us, not taking that time away to keep stewing on the point that you were trying to make, or how much they're pissing you off, or what your next argument point is going to be. Right. So really important when we take that time apart to use that time to regulate our nervous system, to calm down, and to connect to our heart as much as we can, and remember why that person matters to us.
Yeah.
Even in
just had a
business.
vision of like going to walk up and be like, why I hate my partner, reason number 507. You know, like,
572,000. Yeah, depending on how long you've been together, right?
yeah,
So
exactly.
it can be like that, right? It's so easy to walk away and mull over and be like, oh, I should have said this. Oh, you know what? When I go back into that room, here's the point I'm going to make. It's so easy to do that. What's not as easy is to really like to get vulnerable, to get to step into your heart and take a breath and remember why that person matters to you, why you love them, depending on the relationship that you're in. And that can be hard sometimes, but it's worth it. And when we give ourselves the time to do that and experience that shift, it's really profound and really magical. And then I think, oh gosh, why haven't I, you ever have that thought where you're like, why didn't I do this all along? Like, it's so much easier than trying to, muscle through an argument that could go around in circles for hours. So that's a really big one. And to go back to your previous question, Ben, I think one of the really critical starting points before getting into a relationship, or whether it's at work or an intimate partnership, is really, am I willing to have a growth mindset here? I think growth mindset is a really key thing for two people to have when they're in relationship together. So, if you're dating, right, does that person have a growth mindset? It's a really valuable thing for a partner to have, especially if you're looking for long-term partnership.
Yeah, that might be a really important one. I'm just thinking like, wow, we might just have saved people like lives or decades or divorces if you actually just stop and check in and ask yourself, am I willing to have a growth first with ourselves, right? Am I willing to have a growth mindset here? But does my partner, like, I was in a couples counseling session with an ex, and my therapist said at one point, although we both really wanted to work on the relationship at the time, we just saw we wanted different things at one point. But she said, I asked her about relationships, like, what's the statistics of people you see here? How's it go? Like, once we're here, is this like our last stop before divorce, or what's going on? And she said, well, I think it could be like anyone who are both willing, your relationship will always grow as long as you're both willing to work on each other. And she said 100 times out of 100, when a couple is done, it doesn't matter if they come in to get therapy if one person's not willing to grow. Like, I tell them, like, I'm not going to waste your time. One of you has made a decision. So if we've already decided that we're not willing to grow, then we actually can grant ourselves that permission, maybe to start to step away or to get real, at least.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. That's what I'm taking away from hearing y'all talk. Totally. This is beautiful.
Yeah. I think you hit the nail on the head, to get real, at least. And I think that's where it starts, because, there are also couples who reach that point. Maybe one of them's not willing. Maybe both of them aren't willing. That can happen too. But once they get real with one another, they start really telling the truth. Often that can lead to a new possibility opening, right? So maybe it's a different direction and you complete that relationship, or maybe it completes that version of the relationship and something new opens up where you can now reach understanding on another level, and then start to create what the new version of your relationship is going to look like. But it takes the courage to really go there and tell the truth with nothing to lose, right? No attachment.
Yeah. And
you're living testament to that, both of you. Yeah, go for it.
I wanted to add to that too, which is, and I'm especially thinking about my business-minded people who are like, okay, this is great for intimate relationships, but what about, in a business kind of experience, business relationship? And I would say, obviously that the person you're speaking to has to matter to you, even in a business context, has to matter to you. You also have to be clear for yourself what kind of partner or leader you are committed to being in that interaction and in that space. Because I will tell you that there are leaders out there, business owners that I have worked with or that I have coached, that think that who they need to be is the authority, and they need to be the right person, the right party in the room. And they totally miss that who they're really being called to be is compassionate, empowering, supportive of other people growing in their business. And so as a leader, if you're looking at this like in a business context, you have to be clear about who you're going to be for those people that you're interacting with, and the kind of mark you're looking to leave. And so you would have to be interested in your own growth to be able to show up that way. Right. And have dialogue about it. Nicolle and I sat down and we asked each other big questions about being business partners. And we both told the truth, and we like wrote the answers down for each of us. And like we have a whole document where we went through those questions. And as friends, it was uncomfortable to answer a lot of questions.
Yeah. I mean, these are questions like, what if one of us has to fire the other? What if the business dissolves? What if we need to dissolve the business? What if,
can somebody be bought out? Can, things like that. Which is like a prenup, right? It would be like discussing like, what if the relationship falls apart in some way, right? So it's uncomfortable because you also have to think about the end in some way, even if you plan not to have an end. Realistically, with business, there could be, right? So, you have to have those conversations. You have to ask those hard questions and spend the time being uncomfortable answering them, so that you also have some clear boundaries and expectations of one another that you can always go back to when there's conflict.
Yeah. Yeah.
Ooh, this is good. This is good. We're getting some value in here. If you're listening and you haven't subscribed or commented, that you're missing out. Please do so. And if you haven't checked out alignbeing.co, please do so. I'm going to drop that in here so that you can get hold of them. You have a workshop, immersive, an event coming up. Can you tell us a little bit about it? I mean, we're already hitting like some incredible
lot
points.
of it.
Yeah. But when is it? What is it?
Totally.
Where is it?
Yeah. So we have a really special introductory package that we are offering to people, which is a 3-month coaching experience with Aligned Being. It starts off with a one-on-one call, and it kicks off with a 3-day immersion in person in New York City. It's April 5, 6, and 7. And then it's followed by 3 more group coaching calls that are spread out. So the whole engagement is a 3-month time span. If you can't come to the kickoff immersion, though, you can't do this package. So the kickoff is really, really important. And we are offering this. So we love to work with business owners who are in growth stage. We love to work with people who are in managerial roles in highly technical fields. I'm thinking like healthcare, tech, life sciences, but it's not limited to that. It's just the kind of people we tend to work with. And then, there's also the people who are really looking to reinvent themselves in life, not just in business. Or people who are looking to expand and grow in their relationships, intimate or otherwise.
Yeah.
And so if that sounds like you should email info@alignbeing.co so that we can set up a conversation with you and see if this would be for you, if this is a fit.
Awesome. Hell yeah. And is this on your website as well if we want to learn more?
It will be shortly. Okay. It'll be by tomorrow. Yeah.
Hey, I get that. Listen, sometimes just talking to the people is the best way to get the information.
Sometimes you're building the plane while you fly it.
Yeah, don't just get inspired. Look at us. Take an action today. Yeah. So I want to really challenge anyone who's interested to email them right now. There's like nothing else to do. nowhere else you really need to be. You can, and you don't have to commit if you send them an email.
That's right.
You can have
You
a
just have a
conversation.
conversation.
I mean, think about the value you've gotten out of this conversation. What if you get to talk to them directly and ask them anything you want? So that's what I want to challenge you all to do. I'm already thinking like, God, where am I not utilizing like my friendship and these like incredible business partners here and the value I'll bring? It's beautiful. So thank you for who you are and the value you've each brought to this call. I really hope everyone here follows them. If you, for some reason, can't get a hold of them or you're technically challenged, send me a message and I'll put you in touch with them. Nothing but love here. Before we go, I would love to know what's one thing, one gift you would each give to the world today. So if there's one thing that you could wave the magic dude wand, which helps all people, not just dudes, but you could wave this wand and give the world one gift today, what would you give us?
Oh, I would give the world, I know this one for me, is the self-love. Really, it's as simple as that. That's what it comes down to for me. The ability to see themselves through the lens of someone or something that is so benevolent and loves them so unconditionally and sees their magnificence, like who the light in them and the magnificence in them and who they were born to be. That is what I would give, but like in a sustainable way, like always having that. I know we have moments, but that built in.
And if we had that, Nicolle, that self-love, what do you see us all doing?
Being kinder to each other, more compassionate, and helping one another win, and really having a, I mean, we're going way out, right? Zooming way out, but really having a planet that's healthy and that works.
Yeah. Thank you. We'll take some of that. What about you, Micky?
What she said. I can't say it any better. That was poetry.
That was gorgeous. Yeah. Well, you two truly are aligned, and I'm aligned with your purpose and with being part of this conversation and being for what you're for. So thank you for being here with us, for spending your time. It's valuable, and you could be with a lot of people right now, including yourselves. So thank you for spending it here with us. We're really grateful.
No place we'd rather be, Ben.
Honestly, Ben, this was such a pleasure. We love you. You were amazing.
Thank
you. It's been a real honor and a privilege.
Yeah.
I'm going to take that in. Thank you. More to come. I think we've got to do some more. We clearly need to do some more episodes. I see a workshop together in our future.
Yes.
I'm one of your biggest fans and cheerleaders. So any way I can support, let me know. Go check out these amazing humans at alignedbeing.co or send them an email, info@alignedbeing.co. And if no one told you they love you today, I love you, dudes. You're getting well. Thanks for joining us. Have a beautiful day.
Love.
We love.